Hare Krishna. What happened? Oh, I know why I couldn't hear you. Hare Krishna. Can you hear? Can somebody say something?
Yes, Prabhuji. Can hear
Okay,
you.
now I hear. So maybe if you wanna, there was a problem at my side.
We were able to hear him.
Oh, okay. I was not. Okay. So I didn't hear you. If you want to repeat, Mataji, or okay, fine. We will continue. I'm so sorry. There was a glitch at my end. I could not hear anyone. So anyway, welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class with prayers for the well-being of all devotees and all living entities, whether devotees or not. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya. So let everybody be happy. So we will start with Mangalacharan prayers. So I will share the screen. Hopefully you can see the screen. Bhagavad Gita as it is, introduction. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Now I will stop here. I got a question last time from one of our senior participants here, that earlier we used to recite the two verses for Srila Prabhupada in the beginning. So that was because we were in the beginning stages and I did not want to confuse anyone. So then we used to start from here, but the correct place for reciting in this Mangalacharan, the verses for Srila Prabhupada, is after this Vandeham and before He Krishna Karuna Sindhu, in middle of these two. So in the beginning, when you were all sort of new, I did not want to confuse that so far we are reading from the book and then suddenly it doesn't make sense. So that's why I used to recite those in the beginning, and then it used to be continuous as in the book. Somewhere in the middle, I transitioned to the correct place. So we have always recited the verses for Srila Prabhupada. We never missed it. You can go and see in the previous recordings. But now we recite it at the correct place, which is over here. If you see the screen where my mouse is, that's where we recite, because first we give our obeisances to all the Guru Janas, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, then to Rupa Goswami, Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam, and then again to the Gurus, and to again to Shri Rupa Goswami, to the various acharyas, and to Lord Krishna, to Radha, Srimati Radharani, Lord Krishna, Lalita, Vishakha Sakhi, and then to Srila Prabhupada, and then back to Lord Krishna, Srimati Radharani as Vrishabhanu Sute Devi. She is the daughter of Vrishabhanu, which is Srimati Radha, Vrindavaneshwari. Then to all the devotees, Vanchakalpatrubhyascha, so Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, to all the Vaishnavas. Then to the Panchatattva, the 5 elements comprised of Lord Sri Krishna as the original Lord Krishna, Lord Nityananda as the expansion, Gadadhar Pandit as the Shakti, Advaita Acharya as the avatar or incarnation, and Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, all the devotees. So these are the 5 elements representing the absolute truth. The Bhagavan or Lord himself, his expansion. So Lord himself, expansion, incarnation, energy, and devotee. This is why it is known as Panchatattva. The Lord, expansion, incarnation, energy, devotee. We can have a separate class on the meaning, in-depth meaning of these 5 elements or tattvas. But that's why this is called Panchatattva, and the personalities representing each of these 5 tattvas are Lord Chaitanya himself, Lord Nityananda, Gadadhar Pandit, Advaita Acharya, and Srivas Pandit. So these are the Panchatattvas, and then the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that is the Mangalacharan prayer, in essence, in short. Okay. So since we kind of broke in the middle, we will start back from the beginning. Okay. From here, and then we will recite after this one, Vandeham, we will do Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, which is not in the book. Then we will resume from Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu. Is that clear? So that is the sequence we follow. You can go back and check all the recordings. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Padantikam Vande Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All right. So with that little detour, we will resume our Bhagavad Gita discussion. We will start from 9.4. So very, very unpredictably, it was completely unpredictable at my end that we spent 3 classes on the first 3 verses. I have never done that. That is not even in the Excel, super Excel model. It is double, triple Excel. So I never expected to spend so much time in each of those verses, but that's how it is. It happened. So in any case, I hope once and for all it is recorded, and those who are interested can and even myself, we can go review the points that are covered. And there are, as I was preparing for today's class, there are still more points in 9.2 and 9.3, but I'm not going to go into that. So as we start today, 9.4, once again, my request, please pay very careful attention. Today's class is one of my favorite classes. It is a little sort of a technical class today, but I hope you will enjoy it, especially all the engineers and people with a little bit of a scientific bent should enjoy it a lot. For me, it is one of my favorite topics to discuss, and I hope you will get some value from the discussion. The discussion that I'm talking about is on the inconceivability of the Supreme Lord. So this question usually comes up. What does it mean inconceivable? Yeah, he's inconceivable. We cannot fully understand God. Okay, fine. That's how much it is. Yes, that is correct. That is one level. But I hope today to unpack for you how inconceivable he is. Okay, now one can say, okay, Lord Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill on his little finger. So that is pretty inconceivable. How can somebody lift a mountain? I can lift a table, I can lift a chair, maybe some bodybuilder can lift a car, but how can somebody lift a mountain? That is another level of, okay, he's super powerful, or he's unimaginably powerful. But we will go a little bit deeper into the meaning of inconceivability. And inconceivability does not mean that, okay, something that we haven't seen yet. We have seen a person lifting a rock. So you can expand that and imagine that he can lift a mountain. Okay, but you have not seen it. But it is within the realm of imagination, isn't it? And we have seen a lot of pictures of Lord Krishna holding a hill. We have seen a little ant holding a big, piece of whatever, stone or little pebble or whatever, small little thing, which is much bigger than the size of the ant, isn't it? So we have these visual things which can help us imagine. The point of inconceivability is that it is beyond imagination. You cannot even imagine it. It is I coined a new term, personal term, unimaginably unimaginable. So it is like that. And I hope to unpack that whole concept for you today. Okay, so please bear with me. But before that, and we will go into many other aspects. That's not the only thing we will discuss today. We will discuss more things. So let me share my screen and we will go into 9.4. What happened? Okay. I hope all of you can see my screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right. So Bhagavad Gita 9.4. So first, let us understand the section. The section we are in is a section of 7 verses. So once again, my request to all of you, I will again, in the interest of speed and time, I will try to keep going fast, at least from my standpoint. Stop me if you have any questions, raise your hand, speak up, put it in the chat, whatever. Pay very careful attention. Don't do other things. Turn on your camera if possible. I like to see you like, you would like to see me and see the whiteboard and so on. But most importantly, listen with attention. Okay, thank you. So this is a section comprising of 7 verses, which is 9.4 to 9.10. And in these 7 verses, Lord Shri Krishna is describing all the necessary points. All the necessary points of Bhagwan's or Lord's aishwarya. Aishwarya means of his opulence or of his grandeur, how great he is, how big he is, how unimaginably unimaginable he is. Basically, like how super he is. So that is aishwarya. There is no one direct word in English that maps to aishwarya. So, and Lord will use this word, pashyame yogam aishwaram. So all the necessary points for Lord's aishwarya that a bhakta, a devotee, needs to know. So in these 7 verses now, even a devotee, a bhakta, he is in the various rasas, primarily the dasya rasa. Dasya means servitorship. servitorship or service in love, not like a slave. Okay, that's not the meaning of das. Das doesn't mean slave, or like a, definitely not like a forced slave or a bonded laborer, not like that. In love, like a mother serves the child. So she's serving, so she's dasya. In that sense, dasya as servitorship, or Hanumanji, he was not a slave of Lord Ram. Okay, so in that mood, whatever a devotee, a bhakta needs to know is present in these 7 verses. So these 7 verses contain the totality of aishwarya meant for a dasya bhakta. Okay, so that is the main takeaway of these 7 verses. There are several points I will summarize. So what is contained in these 7 verses that a dasya bhakta, or you can just say bhakta, needs to take away. So these are the points. So the main points that a bhakta needs to know about Lord Krishna's aishwarya. Okay, these are the main points. So first point is that Lord is achintya. Achintya. Chinta means to think about. Chitta means mind. Chintya means to what the mind does, which is to think or to conceive, to imagine. Achintya means unimaginable, or in other words, inconceivable. Conceive, I don't know, whatever is the spelling. Okay, so he's inconceivable, achintya. Then he pervades the entire universe, the entire, not just one universe, the entire, we will say, creation, and not just material creation, even spiritual world. So materials plus spiritual, by his unmanifested form. Now, obviously, he is present in his manifested form in the spiritual world, but the unmanifested form is everywhere. That is the common denominator, which is present everywhere. In his personal form, he is present always in the spiritual world, and sometimes he comes to the material world also. But in his unmanifested form, he always, I can add the word always, pervades the entire creation by his unmanifested form. This is known as Avyakta murti. A form, murti doesn't mean just a deity form, or as somebody may say, statue or idol. Those are not the right words. The right word for murti or vigraha is deity. It represents a person. A statue can represent the statue of any other thing also. So always pervades the creation by his avyakta murti, unmanifested form. Murti means form. The third one is that he is the protector of everyone. The fourth one, now he is the creator, destroyer, maintainer, director of the entire cosmic manifestation. Whatever is there in the cosmos, he is all the, he's the creator, the maintainer, the destroyer, and the director. So while he is maintaining, he's not just maintaining and letting the show run on its own, and he's just fixing the broken things. That is what we call maintenance. When we do car maintenance, the maintainer is the car garage person, whatever is the service person. I am the director. I tell the car where to go. So there is a difference between director and maintainer. That's the distinction I'm trying to draw. So Lord is not only the maintainer, but the director also. He will say, Maya adhyakshena prakritihi. Adhyaksha. It is known as, the English word is director, the Hindi word is adhyaksha. So you can see that in some government offices in India, we call so-and-so adhyaksha, means he is so-and-so director. It's a very high post. So he is the director. Yet he is above all of the cosmic manifestation. Cosmic manifestation. He's above the cosmic manifestation. So these are some of the points, these 8 points, which you can see on the screen, plus many more. But and as you read Bhagavad Gita more deeply, as you read just these 7 verses more deeply, you may find more points. But I have listed down these 8 points. So here are all the 8 points in one screen. Main points that a bhakta needs to know about Lord Krishna's aishwarya from 9.4 to 9.10. These 7 verses, which I had said here, 9.4 to 9.10. So I will leave this on the screen for 1 second so that it gets nicely recorded. Okay, so having said that, this is the summary of these 7 verses. This is what you will learn. And today we will focus on hopefully all these aspects. But it is much clear for many people that he is the protector of everyone. He is the creator, he is destroyer, he is all these things. We will discuss those things, but we will put little more focus on achintya. What it really means, you will hopefully get an understanding that, oh, he's this whole, even lifting the mountain or this and that, is achintya is even more unimaginable than all of that. And that he is above all of this. What this means, he's part of the creation, he's outside the creation, but he is above the creation, and what that means as well. So we will focus on those points. Okay, so let us go into what I am thinking we shall do is we shall go through 9.4 and 9.5 first, and then have this whole discussion of achintya and the other points. Okay, so 9.4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina mat sthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshu avasthitaha. The translation by Srila Prabhupada is, by me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Next verse, 9.5. Na cha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram bhuta bhinna cha bhutastho mamatma bhuta bhavanaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. So let us unpack these 2 verses. So there is one word that you need to focus on, or not focus on, one key word, I will write it here, mat sthani. This appears, and we will see what this word means, it appears 3 times in these 3 verses, 9.4, 9.5, and 9.6. It appears 3 times in this. So there is connection between these 3 verses. And these 3 verses, 9.4, 9.5, and 9.6, together are one of the main things they are explaining is the achintya aspect of the Lord. So, like I displayed all these points, This achintya aspect is in 9.4 to 9.6. So this one point is covering 3 verses. And other points also, that he is pervaded, but the rest of them are all in the remaining verses. So achintya. So let us see. So 9.4, maya tatam idam sarvam. What it means is that by me, somebody kindly mute. Okay, thanks. By me, everything is pervaded. So, sarvam, everything. Sarvam, maya tatam idam sarvam. That means I am in everything. What happened? I am in everything. I'm trying to write it in a little bit simpler way. By me, everything is pervaded. I am in everything. Like you can say, the body is pervaded by blood, isn't it? Anywhere you poke the body, what comes out? Blood. So it is not just that the blood is in the hands, but not in the legs. There is blood everywhere in the body, in one sense, at a simple level. So that is mean that what it means is that blood pervades the entire body. Blood is in every part of the body. So the Lord is saying, I am pervading the entire universe. Jagat Avyakta murtina. What is he pervading? The Jagat, the whole universe, the whole creation. Jagat means the whole cosmic manifestation. In his Avyakta murtina, in my unmanifested form. Avyakta, unmanifested form. Matsthani sarvabhutani. So this matsthani means in me. So please remember this, in me. Mat sthani, in my place, or wherever I am, there. Mat sthani. Mat means wherever I am. Mat sthani, it means I am. So wherever I am is mat sthani, or in me. So mat sthani sarvabhutani. So again, the Lord is saying, that every one is in me. Matsthani, in me. Sarvabhutani is everyone. So everyone is in me. Correct? Na chaham teshu avasthitaha. And then he says, but I am not in them. Okay? Then let's see what 9.5 says. You will see another very clear, stark difference. Na cha matsthani bhutani. So look at that. What was 9.4a? Oh, 9.4c. Matsthani sarvabhutani. And 9.5 is saying, na cha mat sthani sarva bhutani. What it means is that everyone is not in me. Can you see? What is the difference between this sentence and this sentence? In the Sanskrit, what is the difference? I have written the exact Sanskrit of these two lines. Matsthani sarvabhutani and na cha matsthani sarvabhutani. The only difference is na cha, isn't it? So basically, Lord Krishna is saying here something, let's say X, and here he's saying not X. Isn't it? That's a contradiction. Clear contradiction. He's saying X and not X. So those who are computer scientists, they can understand X and not X. That is, they can never be equal. X can never be equal to not X. X is always opposite to not X. Na cha mat sthani bhutani. So these 5 lines, 9.4, A, B, C, D, and 9.5a, you can see the contradiction. And the solution to the contradiction, which I will cover in greater detail, the solution is Pashyame Yogam Aishwaram. Just see how wonderful is my aishwarya, my opulence, my inconceivable mystic power, how Srila Prabhupada translates. So, how wonderful, just see. So, this is a statement of like a, declaration, just see. It's not like, see. It's more like, just see, hey, look at this, like that, in that mood. Just see how wonderful is my inconceivability or my mystic opulence. And then another contradiction Lord Krishna brings up, and then he gives a solution. So this was A, this was B, then C. Bhuta bhin nacha bhutastho. He says that bhuta bhin na, which means that bhuta bhin means I am the maintainer of all the living entities. So Lord Krishna is the maintainer, and na cha bhutastho, that he is not in contact with them. So Lord is the, so sorry, I'll write in blue color. Nope. So C, Lord is saying, I am the maintainer of everyone. Correct? Bhuta, Bhuta means living entities. Bhin means maintain. So I am the maintainer of everyone. Please mute yourself. I am the maintainer of everyone. Na cha bhutastho, but I am not in contact with anyone. I am not in contact. He is not in this cosmic manifestation. So Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan describes it a little more in a deeper way, that I am not in contact with anyone. Can you think of maintaining somebody without contacting them, without maintaining any or having any contact with them, even telephone contact, any kind of contact, even a contact through a bank account where you are sending monthly money? That is also a contact, isn't it? So without being in contact with someone, how do you maintain someone? It is not possible. So this is another way of expressing the contradiction. Lord Krishna is saying, I am the maintainer of everyone. Bhuta bhin. But na cha bhutastho, but I am not in contact with them. Please keep yourself muted, okay? Otherwise, I'll have to remove the unmuting capability. Don't touch your phone. Just leave it somewhere. Otherwise, it might press the unmute button and it will create disturbance. So I am the maintainer of everyone, but I am not in contact with anyone. And again, the solution is given by the Lord in D. Is that Mama Atma Bhuta Bhavanaha. So Bhuta Bhavana means creation and maintenance. Bhavana. Bhuta Bhavana, which means I am the maintainer and creator. But how is he the maintainer and creator? Mama Atma, by my will. So by my will, I create and maintain everyone. Can you imagine by your will something can happen? No. By your willing, nothing can happen. Only by Lord's will, anything can happen. You can say, I wish, let's say this pen is here. I wish this pen becomes vertical. Right now it is horizontal. I wish this pen becomes vertical. It's not becoming vertical. My hand has to move and then it will become vertical. Just by wishing or willing, nothing will happen. Only by Lord's willing, just willing, things happen. He doesn't have to act, which means he doesn't have to do any action, which means he doesn't have to create any contact with matter to make it move or to make it do something. Matter acts by the will of the Lord. Matter will never act by our will. Are you following? And there's a deeper connection here, how Paramatma is the connection between us and matter. Our soul wills, Paramatma sanctions, and then also provides the action to matter, provides that signal to the matter of our desire. But that's a deeper topic of Sankhya. So we will not go into that. So by my will, I create and maintain everyone. That is the understanding. That is the inconceivability. We cannot will and something happens, but by Lord's will, things happen. So these are the inconceivabilities. And then finally, 9.6, which we will come to later, the Lord gives a nice example of the wind and the sky. We will come to that. So now my question to you all is, should we go little deeper into the discussion of achintya or unimaginability or inconceivability, or should we skip over it?
We should.
We should what?
We should
Deeper.
Okay. Okay, so it will take time. I'm just very concerned about the speed by which we are going. And that is
Prabhuji, there is a little bit confusion because we say, Bhagwan kan mein hai, but here this statement little bit, I'm getting little bit confusion in my mind actually.
You are in the exactly right place then. Today's class is the right class. That is the confusion. Inconceivability, confusion, I am not able to understand, samajh mein nahi aa raha hai, ye hai ki wo hai, this or that. All that is basically representing inconceivability or difficulty in understanding. And that is what I hope to clarify today at multiple levels. So hopefully you can see by end of today's class, if it helps, great. Otherwise we can have question answers. Okay, so where are we? Yeah. Okay, I have covered all this. So let us start here in the sequence in which I have written the notes. So, Avyakta murtina. Let us start with that. The Lord is pervading the whole world, like we said, blood pervades the body in some crude sense, okay? The Lord is pervading the whole manifestation in his unmanifest form. Now, what does this mean? Various acharyas have given different levels of meanings, and I will describe that. So, one of the meanings is through the Brahman or Brahma Jyoti. By the light, again, light not like photons, not like the visible wavelength of electromagnetic radiation, to be very precise in terms of physics. Not that light, but the light or the effulgence, as Srila Prabhupada has called it. Srila Prabhupada is expert, he uses the right words, so to say. the effulgence coming out of the Lord's body, the Brahma Jyoti, the whole manifestation is pervaded everywhere there is Lord's effulgence. That is one sense. And Srila Prabhupada, in the purport, one of these two purports, 9.4 or 9.5, somewhere he calls it like sunshine of the sun. So the sun is not everywhere, isn't it, in the solar system? But the sunshine is everywhere in the solar system, isn't it? The sun is at one place in the wherever center of the solar system, but the sunshine is everywhere. And we have seen this understanding of the sun god, sun globe, and sunshine. These are the examples or the three representations corresponding to Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman. Okay. So sunshine is present everywhere, just like, or Brahman is present everywhere, just like sunshine is present. The Lord is also present. Now, this is slightly different from the sun globe. The example of sun globe is given because the sun globe has a form. You can, from far away, even if you are, by the way, looking away from the sun, you can see the sunshine. So that's how you can perceive Brahman everywhere, even if you look away from the sun. But to see the form of the sun, whether it is a circle or a square, what do you have to do? You have to turn towards the sun and then look up, and then you will see, aha, it's a bright yellow or whatever white circle. So you see the form. So that is the analogy of the Paramatma. You have to turn towards the Lord and see the form of the Lord, and that is the Paramatma form. But the other aspect of Paramatma form is that he is present in every atom and in every living entity. He's present, and that is what you were saying, Kan Kan mein Bhagwan hai. That is the other understanding of Avyakta murtina as Paramatma. And this has been given by Baladev Vidyabhushan specifically. So these are various levels of understanding. He is present as Brahman or Brahma Jyoti. He is also present as Paramatma within every atom and within every living entity. And this form is known as Ksirodaksayi Vishnu. As Ksirodaksayi Vishnu, that is a specific name of Vishnu. He is present in every atom and every living entity. And then he is present as his energy throughout the cosmic manifestation, especially in the material world. And this energy is referring to as the Maha Maya and Yoga Maya. Maha, we have discussed this concept before, but very quickly, it is the energy, or his, we can say his power, his influence, his control of the material world through Mahamaya and through Yogamaya. The whole world is being controlled and maintained, is in order. Just like Mahamaya is like your police department. It is controlling all the criminals, keeping the criminals in check, the bad guys. And Yogamaya is like your, I don't know, department of welfare. Okay, where it is helping the good guys. So welfare department, let us just say, for the good guys, to make sure they are all, you know, getting all the facilities, nice facilities. So Yogamaya assists the devotees in their bhakti, and Mahamaya makes sure that they don't disturb the devotees. So they stay in their place, they get their results as per the law of karma, and Maya Devi is controlling and making sure that they don't create too much disturbance in the creation. So by that energy, the whole cosmic manifestation is in order. it doesn't go out of order. Okay, so these are the various levels of understanding. There is one more level of understanding. The Lord pervades the entire universe, the entire material world. I think I was explaining that, maybe it was in the Bhakti Shastri class. I don't remember. Somebody can, is Jayanitai Prabhu here, or Priyam Mataji is here? Probably not. I think he was referring to this. So the Lord pervades the entire universe as Maha Vishnu. He comes as Maha Vishnu into the universe. This is the same, if you remember that diagram which we had showed, the poster of creation, he enters as Maha Vishnu. From Maha Vishnu, all the universes are coming. So he basically enters the material creation as Maha Vishnu, or this is known as Karanodaksayi Vishnu. Then he enters as Garabhodaksayi Vishnu into each universe. Into each universe, he enters as Garabhodaksayi Vishnu. This is the Vishnu from whose navel the lotus comes and Brahmaji is sitting on that lotus. That is Garabhodaksayi Vishnu. In every universe, this happens. And within that universe, so Mahavishnu expands himself as Garabhodaksayi Vishnu for many, many universes. And then Garabhodaksayi Vishnu expands himself as Ksirodaksayi Vishnu into each living entity and each atom of matter. So like this, he is pervading the entire universe. But this is Mahavishnu is also an expansion. He is an avatar, not really an expansion, but an avatar. These three are known as Purusha avatars of Lord Krishna or Lord Narayana, same person, in the spiritual world. So Lord Krishna is in the spiritual world, and he takes an avatar in the material world, and the name of that avatar is Karanodaksayi Vishnu. The name is still Vishnu in this case. So not like Lord Narsingha, that is a different avatar. In this case, the three Purush avatars are Karanodaksayi Vishnu, Garabhodaksayi Vishnu, and Ksirodaksayi Vishnu. And this is how he pervades the material cosmic manifestation. So there are various levels of understanding. I have shown you so many levels of understanding how he pervades the material universe, the cosmic manifestation, and in some cases, including the spiritual world. So this is his pervasion into the whole creation. So we will, I think this is the sum of everything I have read on in various purports and various commentaries of how the Lord pervades creation. Next, the topic that we will discuss is, so this was the first line of 9.4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. I pervade the entire jagat, entire cosmic manifestation in my avyakta murtina. So we have discussed that. By the way, these three Vishnus are not avyakta. Ksirodaksayi Vishnu is avyakta, but at least Mahavishnu and Garabhodaksayi Vishnu are not avyakta. They cannot be called as avyakta. They are called as Paramatma of the material world and of the universe. But I have not seen the word avyakta to refer to these two. Ksirodaksayi Vishnu, yes, Baladev Vidyabhushan calls as avyakta murtina as well. So that is the understanding of avyakta murtina. Now we will go into the next discussion. Matsthani sarvabhutani and nacha matsthani sarvabhutani. 9 point, the most stark contradiction is in 9.4c versus 9.5a, where X and not X. Matsthani cha matsthani sarvabhutani and na cha matsthani sarvabhutani. How do we understand that? Okay, so a couple of points to discuss here. Firstly, we have been using the word contradiction. I have purposely been using this word contradiction, or a sort of X and not X. A better word in the English language is called paradox. What is the difference between contradiction and paradox? The difference between contradiction and paradox is the following. A contradiction is something which is clear in our mind that it is a contradiction. We have no doubt that these two things are reconcilable, or irreconcilable rather. They are definitely irreconcilable. And we won't even try to reconcile them. We won't even try to make sense. It's a contradiction. Whereas a paradox is an apparent contradiction. It appears like it is irreconcilable, but if we go deeper, if we try to understand, there may be a solution. There may be a way to understand how to reconcile the paradox. So that is the difference between paradox and contradiction. So everything that we have discussed about the inconceivability of the Lord appears like a contradiction, and therefore it is a paradox, because it has a solution. There is a perfect spiritual explanation for that contradiction, and therefore it is no longer a contradiction, it is just a paradox. So that is one very important point to understand, that there is an explanation. Definitely there is an explanation. The Lord is not inconsistent or doesn't contradict himself. So what is the problem? Why does it appear like a paradox or a contradiction? Why is it like that? The answer is, so the question is, why do some aspects of the Lord appear as contradictions, or we can say, or paradoxes? Why do they appear like that? The answer, again, is given by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. And the answer is that because we are trying, to resolve it by our material understanding, with our material senses. With our material senses, we are trying to resolve the contradiction. And that will never work. And there are two verses, very beautiful verses, that Srila Prabhupada quotes. One is from Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu, and this is one of your verses to memorize for those who are doing Bhakti Shastri. This is 1.2.234. And it says, Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyaihi sevon mukhe hi jivhado swayam eva sfuratyadaha. So what it means is that Atah Shri Krishna Namadi, that therefore Shri Krishna's Nam Adi, name, form, qualities, his opulence, his aishwarya, etc., na bhaved grahyam indriyaihi. Grahyam means to perceive, to understand. So they cannot be understood by indriya. Indriya means by our material senses. Cannot. Rupa Goswami is saying that you cannot perceive Lord Krishna's Nama Adi, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Charita, etc. by our material, by our indriyas, by our material senses. How we can understand? Sevon mukhe hi jivhadau. By sevon mukhe, by engaging our senses, especially the jivha, by our tongue. And here tongue does not mean by eating prasad. That is also true. But the more important aspect of the tongue is, what is it?
Kirtana.
Very nice. Kirtana. By
Japa and Kirtana.
yes,
Japa and Kirtana.
Japa and Kirtana. By engaging the tongue in that way, Swayam eva sfuratyadaha. He manifests himself. Swayam. He does the manifestation of himself. So if we want to understand Krishna, then through bhakti, we can understand him, and then the Lord will reveal himself. Otherwise, we cannot understand by our own energy or our own logic, our own analysis. And Srila Prabhupada at many other places has given this nice example that if a small child, he is the son of a big businessman, okay, let's say Bill Gates or whatever, and he tries to understand how my father is running such a big company so successfully. He cannot understand, isn't it? But if he goes asks the father, can you explain me this part, or can you explain me how you are running? Father will come down to the child's level and say, this is how I am running the company. And he will explain as much as the child is curious. He will keep on explaining to the child's satisfaction, because he loves the child and the child loves the father. So that is the example that Srila Prabhupada very nicely gives. And that is given here directly. It's coming from this verse. That if we try to understand by our own logic of our material senses, na bhaved grahyam indriyai, nothing will happen. But by serving the Lord, by doing seva of the Lord, sevon mukhe hi jivhadav, especially the tongue, by kirtana, he himself reveals his opulence. There is another very, very nice verse, very nice, beautiful, and which directly addresses this. There is the scripture we will refer today is the Brahma Samhita. I had probably explained this scripture before. These are the prayers of Lord Brahma at the beginning of creation. Because Lord Brahma has been given the task of creating the universe, and he does not know how to do it. So as a perfect devotee, because Brahmaji is a perfect devotee of the Lord, he prays to the Lord. When a devotee is in confusion, is in trouble, doesn't know what to do, the path is not clear, the solution is what? Prayer. And then the Lord will show the path. So that is exactly what Brahmaji does, because he doesn't know how to create the universe. So this is a very, very deeply scientific scripture, and it is present on Veda base, and we will see that. And these are prayers of Brahmaji. So we will see 5.35 verse here, which Srila Prabhupada also quotes. So let's go here. Veda base. And this book is here. It's the last one, Brahma Samhita. And we'll go to the 35th verse. And this 35th verse is saying, no, not 35th, 38th. This is different one. We will come to 35 also. So this says, Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya gunaswarupam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So let me explain this verse. Please try to understand carefully. That first we will go into the third line. This Shyama Sundara, who is Shyama Sundara? Krishna, isn't it? He is achintya guna swarupam. He is achintya. His gunas, his swarupa, his form and his gunas, his qualities are achintya, inconceivable. Okay? That is the point he is making. But prema anjana churita bhakti vilochanena, very, very, very beautiful. That prema anjana, what is anjana? Anjan is called ointment. It is also called as kajal, but it is ultimately an ointment that women, ladies put in the eye to make it beautiful, isn't it? But anjana means ointment. So you don't put black ointment to make it the eyes look beautiful. You put the ointment of prema, prema anjana, not black, not kala anjana, but prema anjana. Okay. Churita means to apply. By applying prema anjana, how you have to apply? Bhakti vilochanena, on the eyes, vilochanena, on the eyes you put it with bhakti. So with bhakti you put the ointment of love on your eyes. Okay? That means that ointment, that filter is not there. We are putting in material glasses. So everything will look material. You put red glasses, everything will look red. When you put prema anjana, the filter of the love on your eyes with bhakti, then what happens? Santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. That then the santa, the pure devotees, sadaiva, in that way, are always in their heart, hridayeshu vilokayanti, are able to see the Lord. So how do you see the Lord? That Lord who is Yam Shyam Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam, that inconceivable, unimaginable Lord, Shyama Sundara, can be seen by the santas, by the devotees. All the time within their heart they can see. How? By Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. You understand? So not by material eyes. You have to convert your material vision to spiritual vision by Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that is the solution given in the scriptures. Very, very, very beautiful solution is given. Now this is not just poetry. Please understand, Brahma Samhita is not, oops, what happened? Shri Brahma Samhita is not poetry. It's not just some, poet's imagination. This is Lord Brahma's very serious prayers when he was in trouble. Because he does not know, not because he's in some trouble because he went and, offended some devotee. That the Lord may, condone. But he is in serious trouble because his job is at stake. He was hired to create the universe and he has no clue. So his job is at stake here, so to say, and he is in great trouble, and that's why he is praying to the Lord. These are very, very serious prayers. Don't treat this like poetry. This is spiritual science. So now let us try to see what is the inconceivable part. Now we have seen how we have already seen the solution. But why? I'm going to the other aspect. I have told the solution. Solution is by bhakti, or by engaging our senses, our indriyas, in serving the Lord. what happens? Lord reveals himself. Okay. The inconceivable can make himself conceivable by revealing himself. He is inconceivable because by our logic, we cannot understand. Our logic falls short. But when he reveals himself to whatever extent we can understand, then we can understand. Just like I gave the example of father. He will come down to the level of the child and explain. He will not start explaining all the complicated things of the business. The child will be lost. But the father is so competent in the business, he can operate at a business level. But when explaining to the child, he can come down to the level of the child and explain it with the intention that the child shall understand. So for devotees, the Lord will come down to the level of the devotees so that the devotee will understand, if he has that curiosity. And we will see a very powerful example as well. So how we will go into this discussion of inconceivability. You all said that you want to go into it. Inconceivability, achintya rupam. Achintya rupam, inconceivability of the Lord. So I will give a very one example of inconceivability, which is dimensionality. Okay. We will try to see how many dimensions you know. Anyone? I'm talking to one of the scientists or engineers. And please pay attention. This is an interesting topic, at least for me. So, you know, I hope for you as well. So please pay attention. You might like it. How many dimensions are there in your worldview?
3 dimensions.
3 dimensions. Very nice. And I am talking about Cartesian dimensions. So many people say time is the 4th dimension, but we will not, it's not a Cartesian dimension. When I say Cartesian, I mean like space. Okay. So we know 1 dimension, straight line, correct? 2 dimensions, like a plane, like a sheet of paper, is 2-dimensional. And then we know the space, the volume is 3-dimensional, isn't it? So in that Cartesian manner, there are 3 dimensions. My point is that the inconceivable aspect of the Lord is that Lord Krishna is infinite dimensional. I will put that in red color. Infinite dimensional. Now, what does it mean by infinite dimensional? I will take you through a little journey of what could be the meaning of infinite dimensional. And what I would try to do is to hopefully make you realize how unimaginable this aspect is. It is way beyond like how can a small boy lift a mountain? That we can create a video of. Here, you cannot even create a video, let alone a video, you cannot even imagine it in your mind. Okay? That is how unimaginable it is. Then we will see how to identify a n-dimensional system. How to identify a n-dimensional system. Then we will see that Lord Krishna is infinite dimensional. This is a symbol for infinite, like a horizontal 8. We will see clearly from scripture from Brahma Samhita that the Lord is infinite dimensional. And finally, we will see a beautiful example in Srimad Bhagavatam of Lord's infinite dimensionality. Okay. So these are the 4 steps that we will take. So I will leave it here. Inconceivability of the Lord. And all credit for this whole sort of unpacking goes to my very, very, very respected and extremely esteemed and wonderful Shiksha Guru, whom I have read his books, his classes. His name is Dr. Richard L. Thompson. He was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. His initiated name is Sada Puta Prabhu. A brilliant scientist who became very interested in Krishna consciousness, took shelter of Srila Prabhupada, and spent his entire life in extracting out these nectars, these beautiful aspects of the scientific side of spirituality of the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And he has written many, many books, has many, many lectures. I invite all of you that are interested to go and unpack that. And all this, what I'm going to share today, I have extracted from many of his lectures and books. There's no one place that I don't know of one place where he have said like this. I have pieced together this stuff today that I'm going to tell you from many, many lectures and books. So this is just my small offering to Sadaputa Prabhu. So first step, what is the concept of dimensionality and infinite dimensions? Okay, so I won't go into too many details of this thing, but there is a beautiful book called Flatland. If anybody is interested in this concept of dimensions or to understand it, please read this book. It is a story book. It is almost 150 or 200 years old. It's a very, very old book, or 100 years old, but it's an ancient book. My father's father read it. So in the 1800s. And it is written by some abbot, I think, or some very famous person. I forget the name, but it's a world famous book in the domain of physics and mathematics and so on. This explains the world as, please listen carefully, okay? Now I'm going into a little bit into the scientific side of things, little bit technical, and please listen carefully. Hopefully this is very enjoyable for you as it is for me. It explains that if the world were flat, how would it appear to people in living in such a flat world, in a 2-dimensional world? We all live in a 3-dimensional world, right? What would it look? How would the world be in 2 dimensions? And this is how that book explains it very, very nicely. So, the whole world, he says, is a sheet of paper. Okay. And people are like circles, squares, triangles, or other shapes, but they're all various people, but they are in 2 dimensionals. They are just various shapes. Okay. And let us say this person is like this. He is living in a house which is like this. So if this triangle wants to go to this person here, he cannot go like this. Can he? No. How does he have to go?
So take a round and go.
He has to go like this, isn't it?
Yes.
But if, imagine, so I'm taking a huge shortcut here. Please read the book. It's super interesting. If he wanted to not take this long distance, and if the 3rd dimension was available to him, what could he do?
He'll kind of jump.
Yes, exactly. He could go directly and jump over this sort of two-dimensional wall. This wall is two-dimensional. But if this triangle had access to the third dimension, then he could overcome the wall by jumping into the third dimension and going on the other side. Just like the concept of, what you called flyovers in a city. If there are no flyovers, there'll be all these, crossings with red lights. But when you want to avoid a red light, then you build a flyover, you go in the third dimension, then traffic can flow smoothly, isn't it? So flyovers are a clear example of going in the, of tapping into the third dimension. Are you following me? All right. So now we can understand this example because we have access to the third dimension. Okay, we can easily understand this. Oh, this triangle is such a fool. He goes all the way around to meet this, his friend. He's such a fool. He should just go in the third dimension and jump. We can easily understand that part, isn't it? But we are in the third dimension right now. Now, my question is there a fourth dimension?
I mean, people say smell could be a fourth dimension.
I'm just talking about Cartesian coordinates.
Time is the fourth dimension.
Mataji, you came a little late, so we already discussed about time. We are talking about Cartesian coordinates. Okay, so this is a little deeper concept. Okay. And I could say that even in this flat land, let us say somebody is this, this star, and we have the square. The square and the star are boyfriend and girlfriend, and they need to meet each other. But the star is in a box. How can the square meet the star? If the square had access to the third dimension, he could just jump over the wall and meet the star, isn't it? That's what it means by the third dimension. If you are locked in the second dimension, there is no possibility for the square to meet the star. That is what I want you to understand. Are you following me? Only if you have access to the third dimension can the square meet the star. Are you following me?
Yes.
So this is not about time. This is not about smell. This is not about any of those things. We are talking about Cartesian coordinates. Now, in the same way, let us say you have a girlfriend. How do they, and you are the boy, and she is in a three-dimensional cage. Okay, the oppressive father, whatever, or the king has encaged the girl in a three-dimensional room, locked it. Can you go and meet your girlfriend today in this world that you know? Can you do that? Yes or no? No. But going by the previous analogy, or by extension, by extrapolation, perhaps you can at least say the words that if I had access to the fourth dimension, I could easily go into the box. Isn't it? Is it making sense? You were able to say the same thing here, just that the difference is from going from 2 to 3. You could easily understand that. All I am doing is doing +1 here, from 3 to 4. That's all I'm doing. It's a mathematical logic argument. Do you see what I'm saying? If you had access to the fourth dimension, you could meet your girlfriend. even though she is in a three-dimensional box. That is what the fourth dimension is. But we don't have access to it. We cannot even, can anybody imagine it? What does it mean? What is this guy saying? Here you could imagine it. In this example, it was much easier to imagine. But this one is much harder to imagine, isn't it? That is an example of inconceivability. I will say something else, okay? There is, oops, like you have, let's say 1D, 2D, 3D. We have a straight line, which is one-dimensional. Do you agree? All simple mathematics, correct? 2D, we have a, let's say a square. This, I'm drawing the most basic shapes in each dimension. A square is considered the most basic shape in the second dimension. Yeah. What is the most basic shape in a 3D?
Cube.
Cube. Very nice. So this is a, no, Mataji. Wait, cube. Cartesian. Remember Cartesian. Everything has to be 90 degrees orthogonal. That's what Cartesian means. Okay. So Cartesian coordinate system, we are in that. I'm repeating myself that we are in Cartesian coordinate system. I'm trying to simplify the problem for the sake of understanding. All right. So let's not go into circles and spheres. In a digital world, a circle can be represented in Cartesian coordinates like this, how you would appear on a, computer screen with like that, with right angles. Okay. So we are in the digital world, let's say. So a cube, right? What is this in a fourth dimension? Anybody knows the name? Let's see. There's a name. Now I can't draw it. Sorry. So let me tell you.
It's used in tesseract.
It's called a tesseract. Just a name is given. And if you look up on Wikipedia and so on, they will even show you a picture of a tesseract. But it is all fake. You cannot draw a picture of a tesseract. Okay. Like you cannot draw, is this a real cube? This is not a real cube. This is a projection of a cube, how it looks from a certain angle on a two-dimensional plane. That's what it is. So you can draw the projection of a tesseract as a 3-dimension. I will just say this and move on. I don't have time to go into the mathematics of it. Okay. Now, the point is, I'll give you just a slight way to see how inconceivable this is. A straight line, we have a straight line here, correct? It has two endpoints. So the straight line is one-dimensional, correct? Its two endpoints or its boundaries. So we will just write down here boundary. The dimensionality of the boundary. So for a one-dimensional object, which is a straight line, its boundaries are 2 points, correct? What is the dimensionality of the boundary or of a point? How many dimensions does a point have? All you must have read this in your maths classes in school.
No dimension.
No dimension, or we can say 0 dimension.
0 dimension.
Okay, a point has 0 dimensions. We have learned that in school. So the boundary of a one-dimensional object has 0 dimensions. Okay, I'm trying to make you understand what a tesseract might be. That's what I'm trying to do here. Okay. What is the boundary of a square? The boundary of a square is a line. These are the boundary of a square. What is the dimensionality of the boundary of a square? Which means, what is the dimensionality of a straight line? 1. Very good. Somebody pointed there. So 1. Now you can see the pattern here. What is the boundary of a cube? It is a plane, right? It's the wall. That's why the boyfriend couldn't meet the girlfriend, because he cannot penetrate the wall, isn't it? So the wall is the boundary of the three-dimensional space. What is the dimensionality of the wall? 2. Very nice. Aha. What number should I put here? Just look at the pattern.
3.
3. Very nice.
3.
Thank you. Now let me ask you the question. Please think about it. What can be a possible object whose boundary is a cube? Can you imagine what I'm talking about here? No, it's not. For me, it's not possible to imagine some thing whose boundary is a cube. How can the cube be a boundary? That means that object has to be in the 4th dimension. A fourth dimensional object will be such that its boundary is a cube. Are you getting me? Just like the boundary of a cube is a plane, just like the boundary of a plane is a straight line, and just like the boundary of a straight line is a point. Therefore, the boundary of the tesseract has to be a cube. Are you following? Little bit confused? But can you imagine such an object? I cannot. That is unimaginable. So I hope what I have done by giving this example is to give you a sense of something that is inconceivable. Means even the mind is having trouble, even our brain, our intelligence is having trouble to, these are just hollow words. We have no idea what we are talking about. Zip. Absolutely no idea. Can't visualize it at all, even in our minds. That is inconceivable. And here we just went to the 4th dimension. What about the 5th dimension? 6th dimension? Infinite dimension. Can you see the magnitude of the problem we are facing? Completely inconceivable. Now, we will go into the next little extension of this problem. The test for dimensionality. And this is going to lead us to understand that Krishna is infinite dimensional. So one of the tests, or we can say a test, a test, one of the tests for dimensionality. Okay. So is this interesting? How many of you are finding this discussion interesting? Some of you? Okay. So at least it is helpful to some. Thank you. Gives me some confidence that I'm not wasting your time. Otherwise, I can skip it. So that's why. So again, in the Cartesian coordinates, when we say that one-dimensional, a point in one dimension. So I will just draw a sort of a straight line here. So that's a one-dimensional line. A line is one-dimensional, right? We have a point. To how many other points can this point directly connect to? If we are limited to one dimension.
2 points only.
2 points only, one on this side and one on this side, isn't it? In the Cartesian system, correct? It cannot connect, for example, to this point. It will have to go in the second dimension. I already went into the second dimension. See, the dotted line is going in the y direction, isn't it? If I am limited to one dimension, I have to go through this point and then go here. I cannot just jump to the other one. Do you see my point?
Yeah.
So I will rub out that point to not create confusion. Oops, everything got rubbed out. Okay, so a point can connect to one point and another point, 2 points. So in one dimension, you can connect to 2 points. Now we will look in the 2 dimensions. Whoops. So we have a point here. How many points in the 2 dimensions can it directly connect to?
4.
4. Very nice.
4.
Can connect to this one, this one, this one, and this one directly. Correct? So 4. Now 3 dimensions. So imagine, like, in the XYZ now, my screen is 2-dimensional, unfortunately. We don't have the Star Wars style holographic screen where I can do 3-dimensional, on Zoom. Someday that technology will come. But today we are limited to 2-dimensional screen sharing. So, welcome to dimensions. But still, let us say, 3 dimensions, XYZ, whatever I can show. But a point in the 3 dimensions, to how many points can it connect directly? Imagine 3-dimensional grid.
6.
Infinite.
Infinite.
6.
Infinite.
6.
8
6.
points.
No, 6. Think about it. I'll give you 10 seconds. Think about it. Let me try to draw it, okay? So 4 is easy, right? I can say here like north, south, east, west. Those are the 4 points that this guy can connect to. Then if I go in the 3rd dimension in the Z direction, then there are 2 more points that get added, up and down.
Yes.
That's all. Where is 8? There's no 8.
8.
No, Mataji. Think about it. Look at the picture. So 6. Okay. Are you all convinced the answer is 6?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now let me shrink this. Now when I say, now you can see it. Now our thinking is limited to 3 dimensions. Human beings, 3 dimensions. Okay. So we have to do this mathematical induction or mathematical logic. What would be the answer for the 4th dimension?
8.
Look at the pattern.
I think
2, 4, 6. Huh?
8. 8.
8. Very nice. That means if we had access to the 4th dimension, then any given point in the 4th dimension can directly connect to 8 points. Correct? What about the 5th dimension?
10.
10.
10.
You can see the pattern, right? What about infinite dimension?
Infinite. Into 2.
Infinite, 2 times infinite. Okay, fine, great. But 2 times infinite is also infinite. Let's say that, right?
Infinite is infinite.
Infinite is, okay. That means that if a point can connect to an infinite number of points, then we can say it is infinite dimensional.
Yes.
Correct? Aha. So what we have done is we have done a develop. Please mute yourself. What we have done is we have created a test for dimensionality. And to find out the dimensionality of a system, we should try to see how many points a given point can connect to directly. Whatever number comes, you divide it by 2, that's your dimensionality. Follow?
Yes.
Okay. Given that understanding, please, given that understanding, let us look at Brahma Samhita 5.35. Very, very important scripture again. So we will go to the 35th verse. So I won't, for interest of time, it's already 8:10. So Brahmaji is describing the quality of Lord Krishna. And what is he talking about Lord Krishna here? He's saying he is an undifferentiated entity. We'll go through this quickly, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. Okay, now comes the interesting part. All universes exist in him. So please read this. All universes exist in him. So within Krishna are all the universes. Okay, that is statement number 1. Statement number 2, he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe. This is the same thing we read in Bhagavad Gita just now, that I pervade the whole creation. That means he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms in the universe. That means he pervades the whole universe. We just read that, isn't it? Those of you that are following carefully. And the other statement is all universes exist in him. This also we read, that everything is within me. Matsthani sarva bhutani, everything is in me. So all the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness, not as an amsha, in his fullness, in every one of the atoms of the whole universe. Okay, so now please remember this, and I will go to the board. So let us say you have one universe here and another universe here. Okay, and this is you. Okay, this is you. If you want to go from this universe to this universe, how can you go? And there are infinite number of universes, we know that. So there are all these universes. Okay, and Krishna, how should I represent Krishna? Let us represent Krishna by K. He is present everywhere in all the universes, in so many atoms, in all the universes. Isn't it? Are you following what I'm saying? Now, if you want to go from point A in this universe to point B in the other universe, how do you go? One way, now you cannot go. There is no access from one universe to the other, by the way. Even if you want to go from point A to point X in the same universe, you have to go through the distance. You have to travel the distance in between. There is no way, you cannot, like in physics, there is this concept called wormholes and all these things, but they are not like, kindly mute yourself, someone. I'm going to mute everyone. Please don't unmute yourself unless you have a question. So let's say in the interest of time, if I want to go from point A to point B, another way is let's say if you are a devotee of Krishna, and if you request Krishna, what can you do? You can go into Krishna. Okay? Because Krishna is in every atom in all the universes. He's in every atom. So you find one atom near you. You find an atom. You request Krishna within that atom. You go in that atom. And lo and behold, this Krishna is connected to every other Krishna everywhere. He's present in every atom. Infinite connections he has. So you can go and request Krishna, go into Krishna's body, and immediately come out of Krishna's body in this universe. Because he is connected. The same Krishna is present in his fullness in every atom in all universes. That means through Krishna, Krishna connects one atom of one universe to infinite number of atoms in infinite number of universes. Isn't it? You can do that if you are a devotee. If you are a devotee. But Krishna is infinite dimensional. That we have seen from Brahma Samhita 5.35. Now you can see what it means that Krishna is infinite dimensional. Are you following? It is mind-boggling. This is completely mind-boggling. We had a hard time understanding even what is fourth dimension. We even had a hard time understanding what is the boundary of a fourth dimension. Boundary being a cube. Wait, what? Right? We were having such a hard time. And Krishna is connected to infinite number of points. And we have, I'm not just making this up. This is corroborated. We will see an example in Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is in Canto 12, Chapter 9. This is the example of Markandeya Rishi. It's a short chapter, and let me just kind of share my screen here for just a second. One sec. What's the best way to? Give me 1 second. Need to find the link. Okay, here's the link. So let me share my screen. So Markandeya, this is an example of Markandeya Rishi. So Markandeya Rishi, he's a great devotee of the Lord. So one time he asks the Lord for a boon. That Lord is very happy with him. He says, what do you want? He says, I want to see your achintya rupam, your inconceivable form. Okay. So you have to be careful what you ask for, because the Lord might actually show you. It's like the child asking the big businessman, how do you run your business? The father will start explaining and you better be ready to understand, okay? Or you ask a big doctor how you do the surgery. Then the doctor will start explaining all the details and the child is like, what? You might get scared with all the, all the gory pictures of the blood and all that. So Be careful what you ask for. That's the point. So Markandeya Rishi, in his, so to say, childish request he made, I want to see your inconceivable potency. So he was in an ashram, very nice, peaceful ashram. The moment he said, I want to see your inconceivable potency, immediately the Lord, where is that picture? Yeah. Immediately the Lord transported him into a different universe where there was pralaya going on, destruction going on in that universe. Immediately he was transported. And he was in these waters of destruction. He was drowning and he was like, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm about to die. And he, being a devotee, he was praying to the Lord. And then he found a small branch. This is just a picture description. He found a branch, and on the branch there was a small leaf. जैसे कहते हैं ना, डूबते को तिनके का सहारा मिल गया. He found the support of a small twig in the ocean, and he was trying to grab the twig, and he saw a small leaf on the twig, and on that he saw Krishna. He got a darshan of Lord Krishna in that destruction waters. And then Lord Krishna breathed. All the water, everything went into Lord Krishna's mouth. This is all description from Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th Canto, Chapter 9. He went into the body of Krishna. And when Lord Krishna breathed out, then he came to this peaceful universe, a different universe, where everything was nice and calm and peaceful. It was very nice. There was no destruction going on. And he saw Lord Krishna. Then Lord Krishna breathed again. And then when he breathed out, then he came out in his ashram. Then Lord Krishna said, did you see my inconceivable potency? He said, yes, thank you. But I don't want to see it again. Once is enough. So what I was explaining just now to you is not just made up. It has full backing of Shastra. And this is exactly the question that Markandeya Rishi asks. Please show me your inconceivable potency. And like Sadaputa Prabhu explains, the Lord showed him the Lord showed him his infinite dimensionality. So he got to see the infinite dimensionality of the Lord in the terms that we are speaking, as Sadaputa Prabhu has explained. Okay, so I hope that aspect was interesting to you. So what we did was we understood what is a system greater than 3 dimensions. We saw a depiction in Shastra that the Lord is infinite dimensional. We came up with a test of dimensionality, how to test dimensionality. And then we saw that Lord Krishna is indeed infinite dimensional. All this we did. Do you agree? And coupled with the fact that we cannot conceive what is 4 dimensions, what to speak of infinite dimensions. And that brings us to the original point of trying to show how unimaginably unimaginable the Supreme Lord Krishna is. So that was the sort of the summary of what we discussed today. I want to discuss a few last points. That what to do in the face of such inconceivability. How to deal with this inconceivability of the Lord. 2 things, like Lord Krishna already explained. 9.5b. Pashya me yogam aishwaram. Be proud of our dear Lord's inconceivability. Wow, my Lord is so powerful. Like a small child will say, my father is such a big businessman. I'm so proud. Or he can say, my father is such a big surgeon. He can do heart transplant. He can take one heart and put it into the other heart or whatever, big. Nobody can imagine how he does these great things. My father is so powerful. So, pashyame yogam aishwaram. And the second point is to understand that I am unable to understand the Lord with my material senses. But Lord can reveal himself to me to the extent I can understand at the appropriate time. And to me means to if I am a devotee, not otherwise. Only to a bhakta. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. Santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. So bhakta can see the Lord in his heart, but he has to be a bhakta, and the Lord will reveal himself. So we can request the Lord, like Markandeya Rishi requested, and he was a devotee, and he saw. He saw in a little bit of a scary way, but whatever. The Lord did show. Isn't it? So that is how we should approach this inconceivability. We should, earlier I used to give like a 6.6 steps or something. So what is the time? It is 8:26. So the first step is to have faith. Oops. We spent the whole of last class on faith. Have faith that scripture is not an exaggeration. I don't know the spelling. Is an exaggeration or imagination or poetry or wrong. So that is the first step. Having faith that whatever is inconceivable doesn't mean it is nonsense. Have faith that scripture has a deeper meaning. Have that faith. There is a deeper meaning which I am unable to understand. Today. Like a child cannot say to a father, oh, you are lying that you are such a big businessman. Nobody can run such a big business. You are lying. Then whose fault is it? Child's fault or father's fault? It's the child's fault. He cannot just reject the father's reality just because he is unable to understand. The right way is that, yes, he is running the business. I don't know how he is doing it, but there must be a way. I cannot understand it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The third step is keep moving forward. This is very, very important in your sadhana bhakti. Don't get stuck. Some people get stuck. Oh, every time they start doing japa, oh, I cannot understand that thing I read in the scripture. Why does Krishna steal butter? Why does Krishna flirt with the gopis. Every time they're stuck at that point and their whole bhakti is stopped there. They cannot make progress in bhakti. Arey Baba, if you cannot understand, why are you harming yourself in your spiritual progress? Keep making the progress. At the right time, it will be revealed. So that is the fifth step. The fourth step is keep doing Bhagavat Seva. Bhagavat Seva means book and person. Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya, which means keep Shravana plus Kirtana. Keep doing. Same thing, 3 and 4 are linked. And the last point is Krishna will reveal, have the faith. So all dependent on faith. Have faith that Krishna will reveal the mystery at an appropriate time. When we are ready. So I will leave it here, these 5 points. These 5 points you should remember. How to deal with these contradictions. Don't get put off by the contradiction. Don't let the contradictions or paradoxes rather become a hurdle or impediment in your sadhana. Never let that happen. And talk to devotees who have a better understanding. And they will, they will tell you. A very good example that Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji gives is that of a banana versus banana peel. Kele ka chilka, isn't it? So if you are walking on the street and you see a banana peel, would you step on it? No. What will happen if you step on it? You will fall down. But because banana peel is there, aha, somewhere close by there must be a banana shop. The more smart thing to do instead of falling down is to go to the banana shop and eat bananas. Then you will be like happy. You will have nice sweet bananas. But you have to find the shop. The banana peel is a pointer that there must be a banana shop somewhere close by. You have to find it. In the same way, exactly in the same way, the banana peel is like a paradox. Either you can step on the paradox and slip and fall. Oh, Krishna is a thief. Chodo. To hell with Krishna. Chalo, khao piyo mast raho. Eat, drink, be merry. To hell with Krishna. That is like stepping on the banana because he's a flirt. That is like stepping on the banana peel and falling. But if you ask, why is Krishna doing this? If Krishna is doing this and if it is written, let me go look around in the Shastra. Let me go around and talk to other devotees. Find out where is the banana shop. Find out what is the answer. Why does Krishna steal butter? Why does Krishna, have these wonderful, nice, sweet, spiritual relationships with the gopis? Then you will be enlightened. You will get so much joy on understanding the nature, the guna of Krishna, that you will become a better devotee. That is like you found the banana shop, now you're enjoying the banana. So you have 2 choices. Whenever you see a paradox, always think it is like a banana peel. Either you can step on it, fall down, and that's the end of your bhakti. Or you can strive to find out the actual answer, and your bhakti will progress much more. That is how you should deal with paradoxes or apparent contradictions. So it is your choice. The point is, it is your choice whether you want to step on it and fall, or you want to search for the deeper answer. All contradictions have perfect answers, all of them. All of them. They are pointers to take you deeper into Jnana of Krishna. So I will stop there. And
Prabhuji, just the first point I missed in this 5 points.
yeah, the first point is, first have faith that the scripture is not just a poetry or some
Right,
imaginary,
right,
fairy
right.
tale. Okay, जो भी लिखना था लिख दिया, whatever, जो उनके मन में आया लिख दिया व्यास देव ने, मन गढ़ंत. So it is not made up. It is very, very factual. That is the first point. Having the faith. Okay, are there any questions? Anything?
Thank you.
Just today, I will add only Atmayatmano Bandhu Atmayatmana Samajh mein aa gayi. I understood.
Thank you. Very nice. What else? So I hope you were all able to understand the inconceivability aspect and how to deal with inconceivability of the Supreme Lord. And how big is the inconceivability?
A lot of thanks, Guruji. A lot of thanks. Really, it was unimaginable.
Okay.
And it was so simple by your example. It became so simple. Thank you.
Thank you so much for today's class.
All glories to Sadaputa Prabhu. If you liked anything, please, and he is no more on this planet, please pray for his soul and please read his books and listen to his classes. If you liked this discussion, you will like his other classes very much. So, that is only my, all the credit goes to him.
Prabhuji, his books are available on
Amazon.com. Search for Dr. Richard L. Thompson, like I wrote somewhere.
Yeah, that I noted.
Yes, here. So it is noted on YouTube also, and these are available, all are available on Amazon.com. There's also a very nice website. Yes, it is called, you can Google for Richard L. Thompson Archives. Just Google for this. Very nice website has been created, and there's a lot of, his archives, his writings, his classes, many things are there.
Prabhuji, we heard your guru sometime back, right?
Yes, Romapad Swami Maharaj.
Yeah. Yes. Where is he now?
He keeps traveling all over the place. So I think right now he is in Chicago. I think so.
Okay. One more question is this tesseract. Where can I read more about this tesseract?
It's a mathematical concept. It has nothing
Achha.
to do with Krishna consciousness. It's a pure mathematical concept.
Mathematical concept.
Yeah, Google for tesseract. You will find
Okay.
tons and tons and tons and tons of information, more than you can absorb in one lifetime.
Okay. All right.
People
Thank
have done PhDs on that.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Krishna,
So looks
thank
like
you.
there are no other questions. We will end the class here. Thank you so much.
Hare
Shri
Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.